Welcome back to the next mini-series, why we don't typically use customers' fabric. Now we'll go straight into the workshop and here's the roll in question.
Here we are with two pieces of fabric. One is off the roll that we've previously shown you, that was been supplied by the customer. And one is ours. Now we've just used any colour, as you can see, that we have. We've cut two identical things. Now the weights are slightly different. However, what we're going to do is I'm going to talk through one of the other questions that we get asked is why I won't use other customers' fabrics. Now, this is one of the reasons. Now, we do a pre-test. Sometimes it passes, but when you get through into the roll, you start to realise there's things wrong. So, what I'm going to do is cut this into basically three even strips. As even as possible. So your first thing is the sound. Sometimes it sounds a little bit almost dry. You can hear the difference. So to give you an idea, this is 18 ounce and I would think this is around 22. So what we'll do is I'm just going to keep two pieces like that, okay? The reason I wanted to do that is because we'll do a rip test on those, and these two we're going to sew together and put a seam in. So we're going to add a simple seam like you would see on the vehicle. So for example, just like an inch. It doesn't have to be perfect because it is the test piece. So I'm just going to treat it as if I am literally sewing the actual seam. Sounds like a machine gun going off. So there you go. Basically, you can see it's sewn layer by layer. This is how the seam's done on the roof that we were due to replicate, which is why the test has to be like that. So there you have it. Now we use the fabric that we use. Let's get as straight as line we can. Give it a fair test. Flip it over. Obviously these aren't necessarily how wide my seams would be, but it gives you the illusion. And there you go, exactly the same. Obviously it's a bit wide, but you imagine it's done identical as a test. So here we are back with the fabric sample. So this is our olive, and this is the customer's supplied. So first and foremost, let's flip it over so you can see both the seams. So firstly, this is if I'm trying to rip, so I'll go one way. I wouldn't say I'm white knuckling it, but there's no, if anything, you can see it's kind of stretched it a little bit. If we try the other way, I mean, now I am very much white knuckling it. Trying to rip it, and that's a raw edge that's I've literally cut, so nothing's happening on that one. Oh, there we go. So this one again, so to give you an idea, it's tearing like paper, and I wouldn't say, like I said, I'm really pushing it, but the fibres within itself, so this is a coated fabric, it's got like an oiled finish, smells great like vintage fabric, but the fibres within it are cotton. So that was obviously one way. I'm going to try the other way. Now it is a little harder to do sometimes across the grain, because this is what they call the factory edge. So we have the factory edge on that side, but for example, sorry, that side's the factory edge. So when we tested it, for example, it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So it tears predominantly one way over the other. So it can tear, it can not. I mean, if I keep trying it, you can start to hear it. Now, one way it just goes without an issue, and then the other way, you see how it just starts to break. Now, this piece of fabric was actually taken out of a couple of meters in to the roll when we started to make the patterns. So realistically, that isn't ideal. Like, you can see how it's, I don't know if you'll see if it'll focus, but you can see how it's just literally tearing. If we were to make a roof out of that, or a plain sheet, it's not going to work. Okay, so you can see the difference. That's in pieces, that's still in one piece. This one, seams, so if you imagine it's on the roof and you're pulling it and the wind takes it and it's doing it, it's not. Now, I could have done a single stitch, it would have been weaker, but this particular roof would have a double stitch. So pulling it, pushing it, there's just nothing happening, and that's art fabric. This one, if you grab it, now it started, and there you go, straight away. No, so what you're going to see now is where the stitch line is. I don't think you'll see it on this one, but you can see it's frayed. But on this side, you can see it's in essence gone where the stitching has gone through. So you can see the holes. So it's almost perforated it like a piece of paper. So, and you can see my threads are still intact. So realistically, here at Axomes, as much as we would try to use a customer's fabric, we wouldn't be able to use this fabric going forward, because we would know that it might not fail straight away, but it will fail, and it's not something we would do. So there's the difference between our fabrics, and you can see our fabrics have taken a bit of a battering, and you can see, so there's the difference.
So there you have it, the differences. That's the roll in question, new old stock roll fabric, quite a bit of roll fabric on there, looks great. So when you're buying fabric, just be careful if you are going to get a new old stock roll, it might not be fit for purpose. We worked with the customer, sad news to give her, however we have now worked with them, got the new roof, and they're all good to go. Can't wait to see it out in the wild being used at a show. If you've got any questions for my mini series, drop me a message. If not, we'll see you next time. Take care.